Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second installment of Just Julie Presents Rosé All Day, Just Julie and Julie's a Mess. We are anticipating the arrival of Ashley Taylor. She was having some issues. Here she is. Yay. Yay. She's joining. She's joining now. So I'm going to add her. She's so excited. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I think we should just get rid of this.
Yeah,
there we go. That's better.
She was
Hang on a second.
It.
I had past tense. No, leave it. I had past tense of green screen, but it is definitely not working. Can you shut the closet doors for me, please? Sorry. I had a plan. I know I'm being very snippy. I'm going to have to apologize later. I had a plan, and then my plan failed, and then I had computer difficulties, and now,
You're here. Yay.
Hi.
I was just going to start and kind of do the Rosé All Day part, and I was like, she'll join when she joins.
And here I am.
Here you are. So live from California, it's Ashley Taylor. Thanks for joining us. So you're new to this. It's new to everybody else. It's second episode. Last week was our inaugural.
Oh, wow.
So much has happened just in a week. Now, if people can't watch it, well, they can always go back and watch it on the YouTube channel. But if they don't want to watch it or they can't watch it, they also now can get it on Spotify because it'll be its own podcast. So, I mean, you're going to be everywhere. Everybody's going to be everywhere. So I always start the show off with Rosé All Day. So you know me, I'm a lush. So I'm drinking a different rosé every week.
Okay. What is it today?
It's bold. Today's flavor is bold, y'all. Last week we had Cape Rosé.
Okay.
It was a good one. I liked it. This episode we have winemaker selection.
Ooh.
Twist off. That doesn't mean anything these days.
That,
right?
You know what? I was talking to a bartender friend recently, and he was like, yeah, everyone knows blah, 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 cork and whatever. And he's like, the twist off actually keeps it a lot fresher. It's just not traditional. But if I know Julie, traditional is not necessary.
Traditional is not. I mean, I'm very traditional, but maybe not.
Sure. No, sure. Yeah.
I mean, somebody was like, do you drink your rosé all the time? And I was like, no. When I need something hard, I drink gin and tonic. But
I do like gin and tonic. Well, I want you to know that I don't drink wine, but I made my drink like pink just for you.
I love it. We love pink at justjulie.com. We love it.
It's technically just beer with some coloring in it, but at least it looks like I'm matching the theme.
I thought about drinking rosé on St. Patty's Day or that week and like tinting it green. And I was like, no, I have a feeling that won't work. Like I'll drink it, my mouth will be green.
And it's never as good as you want it to be. It very often, the green beer thing just makes for a messy following day.
I would imagine just like the Green River in Chicago. I don't know. I've never seen it, but I would think that dye would get somewhere. Maybe not.
Do you know? I have actually information about the river in Chicago. The dye they put in is actually orange. So everyone who works with the crew that creates the Green River actually has orange fingers all day. Well, for like a long time. It mixes with the color of the river and it turns green.
That makes me think of Oompa Loompas. Orange, green.
Yeah, totally. It's an Oompa Loompa situation for sure.
Well, Ashley,
yes.
I've already introduced you. This is Ashley Taylor from California. She is an actress, a mom, a teacher,
a writer,
Jackie of all trades, master of none, like myself. Ashley, for the viewers that are watching and for everybody that's listening at home, how did we meet?
Oh, how did we meet? Well, we met at Dark Harbor at the Queen Mary at auditions. Actually, I don't even think it was at the auditions. It was at the orientation for all the monsters, except we weren't being monsters. We were being like tour guides I mean, we're definitely monsters on the
It was a stretch for me, let me tell you,
not to be a monster.
to be a tour guide.
Yeah, I know, right? You're like, listen, I was giving tours on this ship, but now I'm giving tours on this ship. The same ship.
State tours. But
And
real
you got
tours.
but you also got to wear that cute jumpsuit that everyone loved so much that was 5 sizes too big.
Well, and gosh, and when it was hot, we were like, ugh.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I didn't have a shaman during the day in my tours, but at night there was a shaman in a secret room.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun. That was a lot. Encounters was a lot of fun.
It was so fun. I think it was because I know it only lasted 1 year, but I mean, I don't know. Like as a stranger going to the event, especially because you had to pay for it, I don't know how it was for them in terms of like getting your money's worth or how scary it was or wasn't. But I know that we had the best time and everyone would bring food. So we had like a potluck dinner every night. And the tours, like for your own personal tour, were once an hour. So yeah, it was like working. We're like, yeah, right. Working like 20 minutes of every hour and being like, oh, it's exhausting.
When we had so much fun, we made fun of Peter James.
Yeah.
There was the drunk raccoon that was reading the news one night. I remember you brought cupcakes one night, but you were
I did.
Running late and I slid off the seat and we're like, I was like, they're good.
Yes, that's classic Ashley, I think, because oh man, the sunshine's making my eyes water. I'm the only like dark-eyed person who's so photosensitive. Usually it's light-eyed people.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I know, and I'm like, I don't have tissues or anything. I'm like, let me use my sleeve like a real pro.
You're just happy to see me. You can tell people you're crying because you haven't seen me.
I'm so happy to see you. Well, I see you. I feel like I see you on Facebook all the time,
which is not true. Not really.
Maybe. No. Well, maybe Instagram more. But
we had nicknames. We came up with nicknames for us.
Yes,
first night.
Mine was Crash. Oh, because we had name tags with nothing on it.
Oh, that's right.
We were writing them in.
You want to be called by our real names.
No, and I was like, there's nothing very scary about Ashley. Ashley's like, if it was like, Morticia was my real name, maybe I would have kept it. But Ashley is like, I'm Ashley, and I'm your ghost host with the most.
I thought it was funny because you and I came up with nicknames, and everybody was like, we want nicknames. I was like,
I know. And then they'd be like, oh, I just can't think of anything. Like they wouldn't even put the work into it. We're like, we got it. Your name is Bones and your name is Spider. Oh, your name was Spider.
Yeah.
Spider and Crash. Yes, because you had a spider bite. Yeah.
But I think it's funny that it was Spider at Encounters.
Yeah.
And then when I ended up doing Dark Horizons, I was arachnid because I chewed on spiders. I was like, okay, spiders.
Why? You're like, of all the things I thought would be a recurring theme in my life, spiders was not it. But
that's how we know each other. I also think it's funny because I think I met Steven.
Oh yeah, before me for sure.
Adam, way before I met you.
Yeah.
And then Steven's like, my wife's going to be working with you, and I was like, joy, like, because I know. Steven saw it, and I thought Adam saw it, and I thought, great, they're married.
Yeah.
But then I met you. I love her. And Wendy, I loved Wendy. I loved everybody we worked with, but like,
who's Wendy?
Wendy, she subs sometimes in Encounters. She played like the Wendy Dreveno York. She
yeah.
Usually played like the she'd be like, I don't even know what maze she was always in, but she was like the like mother. And then she would come over and she was just like so balls to the walls, older.
Yeah.
Like I loved her.
I know exactly. Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
What is this crap that we're doing? And I was like, shh, let's just do it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. There were a few people who were put in encounters for one night and they were like, what am I doing here? I'm an all-star. And I was like, okay, so bring your all-star self to the gig. Like,
they're like, but I don't get it.
One night. Yeah, yeah. And I was like, okay, they wanted to just jump out and scare. Their whole thing is the scare. And we're like, our whole thing is to talk our way through an entire tour, which is not hard for you or me. But they were like, this room's haunted, so look out. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe you're not meant to be a tour guide.
Well, then I laugh too, because I mean, I worked there during the day and I thought the ship was haunted. We talked about this a little bit last week because I had Sean Lewis. And I remember as encounters went on, stuff had happened that I was like, it's not supposed to happen. And then there were some people on our cast that were like, it's not haunted. And I was like, okay. But then so as the event went on, I would literally, the days that I had to work and then I was going to change to do Harbor, I would walk through the engine room and I'd be like, okay, don't hurt me. Don't hurt Ashley. Don't hurt Victor. Don't hurt Wendy. We're just making fun.
Yeah.
Like I would walk through the whole engine and I'd be like, don't mess with us. And inevitably, whoever I didn't mention, they get messed with. And I was like, oh, maybe I should have mentioned them. Or,
yeah.
It was weird.
When I the first tour I gave, it was like I was learning where all the little creaks and clicks and weird shuddering sounds are just naturally, and like using them to freak people out. And then there was one time where we were in that tiny room that belonged to Half Hatch Harry. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hello. And I told all the people on the tour, yell hello, and he'll yell back to you. And everyone's like, oh yeah, okay, hello. And we heard, oh. And I was like, oh yeah. And normally, in character, I'd be like, oh, he heard you. That's so spooky. And instead I was like, let's get the heck out of here. Let's go up the stairs. Go.
It was creepy. Yeah. And there were times I didn't like doing it alone. Or I'd have to pick on the girl that was in the cage or the guy that was in the cage, and they were like, get me out of here. And I was like,
I can't, girl. I can't.
Or they'd be like panicked. And I'm like, I really think it's haunted. So odds are you're probably being messed with.
Yeah, honestly. And Stephen can tell you so many stories just from being there all the way from April through October, building stuff. He can tell you all kinds of crazy stories of things that happen there.
People think it's not haunted. I actually told Sean last week, it's been shuttered for so long because of COVID. I would get eyes right now to walk back on that ship and just be like, hey, y'all, what's up? Do you remember?
I know, right? I have this stray piece of hair. It's like, it is actually haunting me in front of my face. Yeah.
Speaking of haunting, we often talk about current events.
Okay.
I have been thinking about this all day. I mean, I had a busy day. I had to go to Omaha. I had my consult with my plastic surgeon for breast surgery.
We're going to get back to that, right? Because I have questions.
Yeah, we can ask about that.
Okay, go ahead.
And then you have a chance at the end to kind of ask anything that you've ever really wanted to ask me about my journey in XXY, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But I am so interested. My mom may even be watching. I think it's so funny that she often chats about this, but I am interested. So the big news globally
this
week, March 9th, is the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview. Now look,
I watched it last night.
You live in their backyard. You live in Los Angeles. You're an actor. I'm stuck in Nebraska now, so I'm literally clicking on Hulu, and like I don't pay for cable, so I'm like clicking on everything, trying to get odds and ends. And I'm like, I'm asking Ashley. She lives in their backyard. Are people in California talking about this?
Okay, to be fair, I don't go anywhere or do anything or talk to people because of COVID. I'm like at my house 99% of the time. So, so I think I'm actually in the same boat as you, even though I may as well be in Nebraska. It really doesn't matter that I'm here. But my friend released this really great series of just snapshots from Twitter, and it was like just totally funked up pictures of the royal family's faces with like the caption, "They're so worried about what this baby might look like," and they're all like,
Yeah.
you know, and they're all like, especially Prince Philip, who's like 96 or something and looking like the crypt keeper. And they're like, "Oh, well, we don't want this mystery baby to like mar our good name or our good looks, even though the king and queen are cousins." I don't know if you know that, but they are.
Yeah,
Not king and queen, queen and prince, not king and queen.
I told my mom, I'm like, she kept going, the firm. And I was like,
Yeah.
That's a Tom Cruise movie. Like,
it's not the same firm. Julie, it's a different firm.
Okay. But I was also like, I watched The Crown.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I'm going to look, you know, people are going to write in and be like, I can't believe you feel that way. But I mean, part of me is like, they left London because they were tired of the press hounding them. They were in America and they're in the press.
Right, but the difference is, okay, so the main thing that Harry said that I think struck a chord with, at least with Oprah, was that he saw the potential to have history repeat itself. So like the press basically hounded and killed his mom, and he didn't want the same thing to happen to his wife or to his son or to his soon-to-be daughter. And even though in America that is, I feel like the press here is I'm sure they might still hound the famous celebrities, but they're in Montecito, which is, or in Santa Barbara. They're quite a ways away. Yeah, and they're in like the, you know, the reason TMZ is TMZ, it's the 30-mile zone. So 30 miles outside of LA, no one gives a damn what you're doing or where you're doing or who you're doing it with. So yeah, so they're going to be like, I think, more left alone than they would otherwise.
Well, I wish them the best. I wish everybody the best. At the end of the day, I go, I'd probably cut my arms off and my legs off to be a part of the royal family.
Yeah, but you would not get to be the person you are right now. You couldn't be outspoken. You probably couldn't have a podcast. You're not allowed to get paid to do anything. So you're totally under the thumb of the crown and the firm. And, you know, and then like you're being judged for it on top of all of that.
I know,
I'm not saying it's a hard life.
I love a good tiara and a designer gown and a hot prince in my. I probably wouldn't have a hot prince. My
Why
prince
not?
didn't look like Adam Conger. I'd probably get somebody that looks like. I'd probably get somebody like, you know,
like Prince Philip,
the male version of Rosie O'Donnell. I'd be like,
right. You get some like funky third cousin who came over.
I love Rosie. She's great. I don't want to be married to her. Okay. Now our next big thing. They passed they passed the next stimulus check. So you're a couple. You and Steven, big plans for your money? Is Kelly spending it?
Okay, so, well, no, I think he did ask if he gets to keep any of it. That was his first question, was like, did I earn any of this money? And I was like, well, none of us earned it per se, unless being in your house is earning money, which, I mean, and not that we don't deserve it, but we didn't earn it. That's very different things. But we're going to put it away. So Steven has just started a new business, a woodworking business. I'm sure you've seen me posting all cutting boards and whatnot.
Yes.
And the furniture he's made. So I think the majority of it's going to go back into the business.
I need like just Juleigh Rosé all day.
Yeah, yes, you do. Well, maybe just, you know what? Oh my gosh. I just thought of something unrelated. I got you a Christmas present.
Yes.
And I just now realized this very second that it never arrived. I ordered it. And I asked you for your address for a Christmas card, but I was actually going to send you a gift, and now I have to follow up on it because I just realized it didn't come. All right,
it's a tax refund that was promised on the 4th.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. It was just a giant bag of cash. That's all it was.
I love it.
Never
I
showed
played
up.
the lottery tonight. If I win the lottery tomorrow night, I'll share a big bag of cash with you.
Okay, I'll take it. Anyway, I think any money we have that doesn't go directly to bills is definitely going to go into the new business because we're trying to build it and be like, do independent worker.
Any word of Dark Harbor coming back this year?
I have not heard anything about anything. I did hear, okay, so the Queen Mary was closed, and during that closure, they were meant to do a ton of repairs for all the ways in which it was falling apart, which I'm sure you're aware of. Like the fact that it's sinking a little bit every year, and that the inside probably is filled with asbestos and like 1970s decor, fancy decor. But I guess they're like in substantial debt. So to some company, and then the company that owns the Queen Mary that owns half the Queen Mary just went bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like there's a lot of chance of it getting fixed up in time. But Dark Harbor, of course, doesn't rely
just
on
the village. Only the village.
Yeah. So I know they had discussions about whether or not to create some kind of drive-through event, if they could do smaller numbers. But I mean, it's 8,000 to 10,000 people every night. So it'd be really hard to be like 6 feet away when the whole point is to scare you to right here.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's true.
If I hear anything, I'll let you know.
I know. Well, I'm closer to Florida, so maybe Dark Horizon will come back and I'll reprise my role.
I'm sure the option of having something open in Florida is way more likely than in California.
Maybe.
I mean, they're already like masks. Oh, we don't do masks anymore.
So this is the part of the show called Julie's a Mess. And
okay. Full stop. The end. That segment went really well.
So the way it works is I tell the guest a story that they've never heard about me. I don't think you've heard this. I was thinking about stories I could try and tell you, and I thought, well, even if I told her the story before, it was 2015 when we worked together, 14. Yeah. So odds are she may not remember. And my parents were listening tonight, maybe. So I was like, oh, I can't tell like a
dirty story.
Right.
You can't tell like a story.
I mean, they're right there looking over me, so I can't be like,
just put that picture down and pretend they're not listening.
Oh, no, it really did fall. So, cheap room. So, so the way it works is I'm going to start the story. And then about midway through the story, I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, in your storyteller voice or in your storyteller way, how do you think it ends? Based on what you know about me and then you'll tell your story and then I'll either be like, that's pretty accurate. So for those that don't know, you and Stephen have an adorable little boy.
Yeah.
He's not really little anymore, is he?
He's turning 9 next week.
When I met him, happy birthday, Kelly. When I met him, we met one night to get yogurt. Do you remember that? We went to get frozen yogurt one night.
Do I remember that? I don't remember that.
Yeah. But that's when I met him, and I thought, this kid is the coolest. Like,
he is.
Had a hoodie, picked out his shoes. Like, I've always been about letting him do him, and he's amazing, and I love him. And because you're an actress, and I'm an actress, I thought, what story can I tell her tonight? Inspired by Kelly.
Okay.
My first acting gig.
Oh, all right.
So, when I was a kid, and later I'll share a picture on my blog. I was like, I got to share the picture. I got to find it because I think it's adorable anyway. But I went to a preschool program. Like my parents both worked at a university, and I went to a preschool program called the Learning Tree. And you just did different things. Like it was before you went to school. So
right,
I remember
and coloring and house. And,
yeah. And I remember little stories that like my mom would tell me, like my mom, dad's gonna die. My mom once told my brother and I when underoos came out and they were trying to get us to wear underoos, she was like, your dad has Superman underoos. And Somehow that made it through the rounds of the learning tree. My dad showed up to pick us up once and they were like, is it true that you wear? My dad was like,
who was saying that? The teachers or the kids?
the teachers, I think, asked him, but that means
Okay.
that I probably opened my mouth. I don't think Craig
Yeah.
said anything. I probably was like, my dad wears Superman underwear.
Right.
My mom still thinks that's hilarious. Anyway, I remember one year they were putting on a circus. So it was like all the students were going to be involved and they were creating like a circus. They put up those red cardboard bricks and made like a circus. I think it's funny that that was my first acting gig. And then later on in my life, I actually ended up working at the circus, but I digress. So I really wanted to be, I do remember really wanting to be the ringmaster. And I don't know how they picked the ringmaster. I think it's kind of funny in my life that all the ringmasters in my life, save for the one at the actual circus, have been female, but I love Peggy McGee. So,
Right.
you know, anyway, I don't know how they picked the girl. I don't know if it was based on attendance. I do remember she had a really great outfit and she was super psyched. I was upset, maybe pissed.
Sure.
I remember when I look back on this moment, like, why wouldn't you pick me?
Right. Especially because in preschool, it's a one-time thing. It's not like, oh, you'll be the ringmaster next year in preschool.
Right. Like, clearly, I'm going to grow up to do great things.
Why do you not see my magic?
So she became the ringmaster. They made all the other kids animals.
Sure.
I got to be a lion. Great. My mom made the cutest outfit. Like, I remember we used my yellow footsie pajamas from the 70s. I got a tail. And then I remember the school, I don't know if my mom made it or the school made it, but with like the brown grocery bags, they made. And then I got makeup. And so for like a week, we rehearsed. Now, as I'm rehearsing, I'm mad that I'm not the ringmaster.
Sure.
Rehearsed all week. Mad, going home every night.
Still mad.
Great. Love it. At least I wasn't the elephant. So circus day comes. All the parents are there. All the kids are there watching. What happens?
I think that you waited for the ringmaster to go up on stage and then ran on the stage, on the platform, tackled this poor girl to the ground and took over as the ringmaster in your lion outfit, but like took the top hat and the whip.
I mean, that would be kind of cute. That'd be like Madagascar, right?
Yeah, like you took, but I just feel like you took over and or heckled her from your lion costume.
I mean, pretty close. Pretty close.
Okay.
I rehearsed all week with her, right? So like they would do things where she'd put like a chair in my face, like your typical like lion and ringmaster type stuff.
Relationship, yeah.
I told the line all week. You know me.
And then you just couldn't take it anymore.
I really couldn't. So the day of the circus, towing the line, she's going through all the routines that everybody rehearsed with the elephants and everything else. And they had this plastic like barrel. And I was supposed to get on it and do everything that she
commanded you to do. Right.
I got a little bit of that showbiz fog of the lion can be a little disrespectful and people laugh. And
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I made that girl cry.
What did you do?
I made that girl cry. Like everything she asked me to do that we'd rehearsed all week, I didn't do. She stuck a chair in my face. I swatted it out of her hand. She told me to get on the stool. I didn't. Like I literally was like antithesis of everything that ringmaster girl did. And I remember she had the cutest outfit, but I was like, I'm not having it.
Yeah. Like it's bad enough that I can't have that role, but doubly bad that I'm being bossed around by the person who did get that role.
Well, and then the funny thing is, years later, I was like, crap. I took an improv class and I thought, you're supposed to yes every. I should have been yesing.
It's yes and. Yeah.
Show. But I mean, that was my first gig and it was my taste of, I'm funny and I can run with it.
And you still remember it. And I bet you that like all the parents that were there too, they still remember it. Like, and then
it's one of my favorite pictures with my mom. Like she had the big old John sunglasses and she was wearing like a green shirt. Like I vividly remember everything. And we took this picture together and I'm like, I was cute.
So
and
why did
like I don't know why there was just one line and just one out. Probably so everybody could have a role.
So everybody has a different role, right? But like
I did get the next day.
So. Of course you did. But adult Julie knows that what the better choice would have been to make the most of the lion, like be the best lion you can be and take that lion role and make it this part of the show. Right. And like,
and then sometimes I'm like, I wonder if that really affected her. Like, I hope not. I hope that she was able to I was like, what if I really destroyed her then?
She's like, and I never performed again. Even now she's like she works at the DMV because you ruined her creative bug. She was like, I tried it one time and the lion wouldn't do anything I said and I never got on stage again.
What if she watches The Lion King and gets like PTSD?
I know. She's like, oh.
I don't remember her name. I'm just like, poor girl.
You're like, poor whatever her name was.
She's probably still cursing Bradford. I hate him.
I know. You're like, Bradford, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Been there, done that t-shirt.
Can I tell you my companion story to your first performing story?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So my cousin Maeve, she's the same age as me, and she took ballet, tap, jazz, and Irish dance. And she had a closet in her room, a huge closet that was basically like just amazing costumes, colorful, big flouncy skirts, character costumes. And even if it was like the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood, it was like puffy and cute and adorable. And I really wanted to have like costumes like that and get to perform in like fancy costumes of any kind. And so my mom was like, okay, listen, if you want to take ballet, you can take ballet. And I was thinking in my head, like, well, I just really want the costumes. But she's like, you're not going to get the costumes without actually doing the work. So, but the more recitals you're in, the more costumes you'll get, because Maeve has been doing all this since she was 4 years old. And I think I was about 6 or 7 at the time. So she enrolled us in ballet, and ballet at the very beginning is extraordinarily boring. And it's a lot of just first position, second position, first position, second position. And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, this is not what I pictured. Like, when are the costumes? When do we get the costumes? So the ballet instructor said, at the end, when we do the recital, everybody will get a part and you'll get a costume that relates to your part. And I was like, okay. So I, like you, towed the line for, I'm sure it was like 6 weeks of classes, but it felt like a year. And every day I'd come home and be like, ballet is the worst, but I'm going to get a costume and I can't wait to see who I'm cast as and what costume I'm going to get. I don't even care if it's like a villager or whatever. That will be the reward for all this good behavior. So because forget being a ballerina, I'm like literally the least coordinated person on earth. But so they get to the recital thing and they go, hey, we're doing Peter and the Wolf. And they play the music from Peter and the Wolf and they teach us all the moves. And then one day after class, they said, okay, stay after class. They're going to take everyone's measurements. And I was like, this is it. This is for our costumes. Because why else would they measure us? Because we're wearing the same pink leotards and tights and shoes every single day. And I hate pink too, on top of all of this. I wore pink top to bottom. And so I got measured and I was like all proud, like, measure me and make me an amazing costume. And she comes back the next Saturday with a tiny little black tulle skirt, and not even a puffy ballerina one, just like a flat skirt that just went around our waist and then just snapped. So it's your practice outfit, same pink garbage, head to toe, and a tiny pink skirt. And they were like, oh, look how beautiful you guys are. You guys are all dressed up for the recital. And I was like, excuse me, where are the costumes? And she's like, well, this is beginner ballet, so you don't get costumes until later on. And I said, I don't think so. So I was like, and then my mom was like, well, just wait, just get through the recital, blah, blah, blah. Next time you'll have a better, I'm like, I'm never doing ballet again. My dad's like mantra in life is like, finish what you start, and then you can quit whatever activity it is, but you have to fulfill your commitment. And he impressed this upon us always. So I was like, fine, I will do it, but let me go on the record saying I'm so angry. And this is not a costume. This is a tulle skirt over a regular practice outfit. And the recital, P.S., was the entire costume assembly. The recital was in the same room that we took ballet, except your parents came. So they lined the wall with chairs. My mom and dad were both there. My sister, 2 years older, hated my guts, was in the same class as me. And she's like, right before we start, she's like, don't you screw this up for us. Don't you do your thing, whatever it is, because I can see it in your eyes. Just toe the line, Ashley. And I was like, okay. So I was thinking, for Allison, I will just be cool and I'll just get through it. And then I'll just say I never want to do ballet again. The music starts and I'm in the front row because the little kids in the front row, bigger kids in the back. I'm in the front row. The music starts and it's that do, 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 right? And the first two poses are this. Yeah, that's what it was Peter and the Wolf. So the first two poses are this, this, and this. And that's it, right? And so everyone does this, and then this, and then I had enough, and I went as loud as I could. And then I did and then we had to move from left to right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I went like that. And I made farting noises through the next 5 minutes of performances. And the lady literally walked into the performance, scooped me up by my armpits, and removed me from the recital and just put me on the side and gave my parents this look like.
You're like, I've been to the Suprema.
Yeah, right? Like, look, did you see me fly to the penalty box over there? And then my parents were like, why, Ashley, why? And I was like, because they didn't give me a costume. And I have no regrets. And I never did ballet again, ever. The end.
I tell stories of my mom's like, I don't think I remember that. She'll probably say the same thing about this.
Yeah.
I think we come by it honestly.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what your mom's like, but my mom's, I think we come by it honestly.
My mom is a very shy person who does not like to be the center of attention or put a spotlight on her. And I'm sure I made her cringe in her seat, and she probably just wanted to shrivel up and die that her child was being like removed from the recital. And my sister was so angry. But, you know, I mean, I was promised a costume and they didn't deliver, so they have no one to blame but themselves.
Somebody that season was like, I can't afford a skirt with a button on it. Okay.
Oh.
We all have to have skirts with buttons on.
Okay. Well, now you just made me feel terrible, but
I'm kidding.
I mean, we couldn't even get ears or something, just anything like a wolf tail, nothing. Got nothing.
My sister took dance, and I remember she had the cutest costumes, but it was like the late 80s, early 90s, where everybody had cute dance concert, and like my parents would take pictures of her in her dance outfit. And I was like,
You're like, I'm over here, but that's cool. Take more pictures of her.
It's 10 years between she and I. So I mean, what? I was a fat, chubby kid. I wouldn't look good in pink tulle and polka dots. They say you're not supposed to wear polka dots when you're bigger.
Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now.
Yes, more.
We're segueing into 5 questions.
Okay.
Actually, a little bit more than that. But I couldn't decide last week, and I started with Sean. I was like, do I ask? I mean, it's my show. Do I ask questions that are predominantly about me, and she tries to answer them? I was like, do we ask questions? So, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason, and it'll probably evolve over the next couple of shows, and maybe it'll find its ground. I don't know. It's kind of like the Actors Studio.
Yeah.
We all want to be on
What's
that.
your favorite curse word? What do you want to hear God say when you slide into heaven?
I answered the curse word one last week. But, I mean, it changes week to week. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Last week it was fuck balls.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Usually I told my mom today, I was like, again, you may not want to watch tonight. I am known to drop the F-bomb. And she goes, why would you do that? And I'm like, I'm drinking.
Well, and in context, you need an F-bomb here and there. I think I will tell you that.
You know, you're an adult when your parents start cussing in front of you. I'm not saying they do that, but I'm
my mom. Well, my dad. We used to joke when I'd be like, "Oh shit," he'd be like, "Where the fuck did you hear that word?" You know, like that was his joke. My mom's just like, "Oh, Ashley, there's a better choice." Like, I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like, you can't say the really bad ones in front of her, but you can, you know. She loves to yell "asshole" when she's driving, and then she's like, oh. I was just so angry. I'm like, it's okay.
My mom never does that. So,
yeah. Sorry. Never.
Okay. Questions. Let's see. What's a good one?
Well, here.
I mean, we could be really generic and be like, "What's Julie's favorite animal?" It's not a lion.
Oh, it's not a lion. A unicorn?
No.
No? Why did you have to think about it? It's your question.
Oh, because I used to tell people I think unicorns really existed, and somebody was like, no, they're fantasy. And I was like, well, Scotland's used it for decades on its
right. So just because you've never seen one doesn't mean.
If horse can exist, why wouldn't a horse with a horn be able to exist?
Yeah, and can I just tell you, they have a unicorn drive-through in LA right now where they have these like little miniature rescue horses, but they've dolled them up to look like unicorns so that you can drive through and you can feed them from your car and pet them. And they look like, so they have the horn, but then they've decorated it with like flowers and ribbons and sparkles to like make it look less like they just stuck a unicorn horn on a horse.
Why do I feel like Lisa Vanderpump owns that? Like, why do I feel like she has her hand in making unicorn horses?
I could see that. Yeah, especially because they're little rescue horses. It's cute though. I think we might go just because.
I mean, for you and for everybody else out there, chimpanzees. Those are my favorite.
Oh, okay. My favorite is definitely monkeys and like the big macaw parrots, the big blue ones and the big like red ones. I used to want one of those when I was younger. And then my dad's like, those can live like 50 or 60 years. I was like, oh, forget it.
A funny story. When I was in middle school in Texas, I had a friend named Fernando Bueso, and his mother was like the consort to Honduras or something to do with Texas, and
probably a diplomat.
Maybe. I don't know. I spent a lot of time at Fernando's house on the weekends, and they had 2 macaws that they kept in their backyard.
Yeah.
Sometimes they kept them in the house, and it would freak me out because they would like have this massive wingspan and like fly from the first floor all the way up to like the 3rd floor. Wow. But Fernando and his sister, I love this story. They can speak. They're repetitive, right?
Yeah.
Fernando and his sister and his I think he had an older brother, they taught the macaws to cuss. And so whenever his mom was making like really important diplomatic phone calls, you'd hear the birds in the back be like, yeah, yes. I love that story. And then I spent the night one night and you heard these horrible like screams in the middle of the night. And I looked at Fernando and I was like, what the hell is that? And he goes, they pull the squirrels down through the cage. Like
That is not what I thought you were going to say. It's
like, that is horrifying. And we
Yeah.
wake up and go out there and they'd be like squirrels in the bottom. I was like, this is night terror.
My dad's friend had a macaw. His name was Quickdraw Macaw. And he taught the macaw every time his wife walked in the room to go, nice ass. And so so she had to hear that forever. And then one time, and then they were trying to teach him other phrases and stuff, and he couldn't say much. And then one day the smoke alarm went off, and it was going off for a long time, and they finally got it to turn off. And then the bird was like, and was like imitating the smoke alarm. And it was, I can't even do it. It was so high pitched. And he would just go, he would just all of a sudden, he'd look around and just be like, and it sounded so much like it that they'd be like, the smoke alarm's going. No, it's the bird. It's the bird again. The bird.
Could you imagine like running around like, what's on fire?
Yeah. So comparatively speaking, nice ass is not too shabby. If you think otherwise, everything's on fire.
You record that so that can be like a ringtone whenever you call me. Nice ass.
Yeah, I totally will. I'll leave you a voicemail that says that, and you can just play it if you need to pick me up.
Adam Conger to do it. I'm kidding.
Okay. Speaking of Adam Conger, actually, I did a show with him one time, a theater show, and there was a guy in the cast, and he was like, Adam, I need you to do me a favor. He's an older guy. He's like 60. And he's like, I need you to record something for me. And Adam's like, yeah, whatever. Because, Adam, yeah, whatever you need, buddy. How can I help you out? And he goes, okay, hold on. And he like presses a button. He's like, I just need you to go, hi, Daddy. Oh, you look so handsome today, Daddy. I just can't wait for you to get home to me. And Adam's like, thinking it's for an audition or something. He's like, hey, Daddy, you look so handsome today. I can't wait for you to get home, Daddy. I'll be waiting or whatever. He's like, is that what you needed? And he goes, oh, yes, Adam, that's exactly what I needed. And Adam's like, wait, what'd you do? He goes, I just recorded it on voice memos. I'm going to play it when I'm lonely.
I had the biggest crush on him. And at Dark Horizon, I'd walk in and he'd be working on stuff. And I'd just be like, and then like we got into this big conversation once about my journey, which you and I are going to talk about later. Sure. And I literally was like, oh, he's really interested. And I told him, and he was like, mind blown. And I was like, yeah.
Yep. And I don't know what else to say to you right now.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Question. Well, he's in Missouri right now, so he's not that far away.
Oh my God. He's like right next door, Nebraska. Yeah. I get a truck at the end of the month. Maybe I just drive.
Well, he's with his whole family, so that might be it. Does it matter? It does. It does.
Hello,
Julie, just so you know. Yeah, right? Get that lion out. I've been sitting on my foot this entire time, and now it's asleep. So I have to fix it. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo! Sit on my other foot.
Let's
go ahead. Is this another question?
Yeah, because they're like 5. And so we're filling the void. So what did you have one for? Well, you I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
Later, I'll be like, look, that's the way we do it.
Oh, right, because later I get to ask you whatever questions I want to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So okay. Question number 2. Okay. If you could cast me in any role at Dark Harbor and that not be encounters, that'd be a good fit for it.
Okay.
It's different. I mean, maybe not, because I feel like same person, but
okay. Yeah, no, I understand because it was not Julie. But you did come to the cast party as Miss America, which was pretty great. So I would say either.
I think I won.
I think you did too. You certainly, if you didn't win, you were definitely on the stage with like all the finalists. So the Barker, who's above the gate, welcoming everyone in and talking to them very specifically, because that is not an easy job, and definitely one that I remember asking about that job because it seemed like the most fun. But you have to have really good improv chops. You have to be like racy but not dirty because there are kids there, and you have to be like you have to be. Well, I brought Killy 2 years in a row, and a couple times I was like, earmuffs. And now you can listen again. So that would be a great job for you because you get like a really cool ringmastery style outfit. And also they get to kind of like, they get to make fun of people, but in like a really funny, flirty, evil way.
Because that's exactly what really I ended up doing at Horizon.
Really?
Yeah. So I was on Ghost Ship. And me and Kat Bay, she's going to be on later on this month with me. It was either you or her this week, and you said yes first. And she was like, I can't do it.
The first time I've ever been on time for anything.
But she and I were on the poop deck. I mean, basically, we were casted in that role when Peggy or the other girls were not up there as Captain Kilgrew. That was our role. Like, we were getting them off the ship by going down the plank, but we got to be that. And we even said if we came back the next year, we wanted to be almost like in a crow's nest and doing the same thing. And it was a lot. It's interesting. It's interesting that you said that. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I mean,
you were born to just be like, because it takes a certain amount of humor. Because I mean, okay, anyone can improv a bunch of nonsense, but it has to be entertaining and it has to be like personal. So you have to look at someone, make like snap decisions about what you're gonna either pick on or you know.
No, and I think too, like,
but nicely.
You're extremely overweight and send them home crying.
No. It's like there was one guy, he was there with he was a fratty looking guy. And he was there with like 4 of his friends. And they're walking through and he started walking backwards. Like he was just suddenly really scared. And the guy that was up there, and I don't know his name, but he was being very racy and very funny. And he was like, baby, if you need someone to walk you through all the mazes, just let me know. I will hold you tight all night long. And he's like, I'm going. Because he was such like a bro. And then he walked in and his friends like pushed him in. But just stuff like that where like you'd have a great time just calling people out on their silliness, or, you know, like challenging them to do something, or just coming up with really colorful ways of talking about people. That's right up your alley. You're a born talk show host, so I could totally see that.
I agree. Somebody sponsor me. First of all,
yeah, right. Who's listening?
Then, you know, Blair's like, I agree. Get her a talk show. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Like a 3-hour talk show and now
it's hard to fill up 1 hour if you were on every single day, like the way, you know, like the Oprah Ellen kind of thing. And like Kelly Clarkson right now is the new like daytime darling, but it's hard to fill up an hour 5 days a week. But yeah, you could totally do it.
It's funny because I've always wanted to do a talk, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but I've always wanted to do a platform where I talk to people around the globe that have medical issues that nobody knows about.
Sure.
That, you know, we're not talking about and we're not sharing and doing it in a fun way, but allowing people to say, this is what I'm going through. You don't know about it.
Yeah.
We're not talking about it. So let's talk about it. Because that's the only way. Even in my advocacy now, that's the only way we can really move forward and change things is by telling our stories and educating people. And I think that would be a great, you know, that's not really a talk show platform that anybody has.
Yeah.
Like, I think human interest stories are super important, especially now. So
there's a Facebook, I think it's on Facebook Watch. platform, but it's about kids. It's very different, but it's called Special Books by Special Kids. And because the guy who hosts it used to be a special ed teacher, and he had all his special ed students write books about their own special disabilities and differences and, perceived flaws, whatever, to make it more normalized for them. And then he took it online and made like a whole show called Special Books by Special Kids. But it has to be kid friendly because it's about kids. So just take that show and add some wine and add a Julie and make it a little more like edgy, racy. But
let me tell you what I want to do, but I'm afraid to talk about it because I'm afraid somebody's going to steal the idea before we do it. But Blair, if you're listening, I would love to have a talk show. And then I've always said I want to do a cooking segment.
Oh, yeah.
And my favorite thing in the 80s is where they're like, we're making this. And look, by the magic of TV.
Yeah. I put it in
the tuna casserole.
Yeah, take it out
they
of
would have like two side by side. But my thing is, I want to have really hot models every week. Like a really hot male model and be like, let's watch Ernesto pull the tuna casserole out of the oven.
Yes.
Like he can make it. He can bend over and put it in the oven. By the magic of TV, he can pull it out. Maybe he's shirtless.
You're like, I'm not objectifying Ernesto. I just really need to show you the inside of the oven as he bends over to put something in it.
You know me. I'm objectifying Ernesto.
Of course you are.
Casserole could be crusty and burnt. I'd be like,
yeah, you'd be like, Ernesto, it's so hot and steamy.
Oops,
I love
it. Ripped.
Yeah, I can see you doing that.
That would be so much funny. No, but when you come back, we're gonna have a real talk about some other stuff. But let's all. I mean, I would decimate all the women at home that are like at home.
Yeah, and they'd be watching it like, well, I don't really like the show. I'm just watching it for the cooking segment.
Yeah.
But
she makes great meals for kids in like 30 minutes.
I'm just, honey, don't worry about me watching this. I'm just looking for lunchbox ideas. And then the husband leaves the room and they're like,
right.
Ernesto.
Babe.
Yeah.
Easy crock pot meals.
When I make dinner for you, you'll see all I've learned by watching Just Julie.
Can you imagine?
Yes, I can.
This week's motto is from Missouri. His name's Cat. I'm not going to always die. I have a crush on Adam Conger. I said it. He's got a beautiful wife. I have a crush on Adam Conger.
Yeah. And so many other people. Did you say? So you're like, not just you. Don't get a big head. It's not just you. It's lots of people. All right. Question. So that was the question about where you'd be at Dark Harbor.
Yeah.
And it led into your amazing talk show idea.
Yeah. Isn't it great how questions just kind of flow? Now, it is. Oh, it's 6:37. We've had plenty.
It's 6:57.
Oh, we don't have plenty of time.
Just in case you thought that 5 was a 3.
People are like, when's this show gonna effing end? So, okay.
Never.
I will let you now. I always ask people at the end of the show, what's something about my journey? You've known me since 2014, 15.
Yeah.
You witnessed what I've gone through.
Yeah.
You worked with me as Bradford. We haven't really hung out as much as Julie, but like you said before, you feel like you see me on Instagram and Facebook.
For sure. Yeah.
What is something about my journey that you don't understand, or maybe you always wanted to ask and you didn't know how to approach it? What's just something you're curious about?
Okay, so this is okay. Let me give you a little backstory. I have a friend in San Francisco, a trans male, whose name is Calder. And when I knew Calder in person, because we've known each other since junior high school, the name was Erica. And so I knew Erica from the time we were 13 until 2 years ago. So first, Erica was, I'm gay, fine. And then it was, I'm changing my name to Calder. I'm like, fine. I'm making mental notes, just like what to remember. And then it was, okay, I identify as still as she. And so I was like, okay, got it in my head. And then it was, now I identify as he. I'm trans. It was just a slow journey coming out, blah, blah, blah. And his husband also, same thing, Susan to Tristan to male. So my question that made me answer, because I was going to ask Calder the exact same question. When I tell stories of, say, Dark Harbor, when I knew you as Bradford, do I refer to you as Bradford in that story? Or do you prefer to be known as Julie, even if it's a story that happened with Bradford?
It's kind of, Sean had asked a question kind of similar like that last week, where he was like, do you prefer being one or the other? I don't identify as trans. I'm not trans, I'm intersex.
Yes, I know. That's why it's a question specifically for you.
I've never understood. So I often say that when I'm asked this question, I've never understood. A lot of trans people when they're born feel like they're in the wrong body. Right? They're like, I don't feel like I'm male and I'm in a male body, or I don't feel like a female and I'm in a female body. They spend their whole life trying to change that, right? To be in the form that they feel comfortable presenting in.
Right. That best represents their inside.
Right. As an intersex person, I never felt I was more female or more male. I felt split. I have felt split my entire life. Now, 3 years ago, when I started to make the transition based on
medical reasons.
Right. So they said, you need to do this and it's going to cause a full swing to the female into your spectrum. People are like, oh, you're transitioning. I'm not.
Right. You're just
female and male. I still had female and male parts. It's kind of like moving apartments. I was just moving from the apartment all the way into the female apartment house. And for 43 years, I was Bradford, and now I'm Julie. Early on, my genetic counselor was like, you need to just focus on Julie. It's Julie, Julie, Julie. The rest will be a hindrance to you. I never felt that way. My mom had often said, you're going to want to look back and you're going to want to remember Bradford because he was 43 years of your life. And at first I was like, I'm just doing kind of what everybody's telling me to do. But then that's very true for intersex people. I am both. Even though I'm still on all this estrogen and having to live very female life, I still have male parts on the inside.
Right.
I still have female parts on the inside. So when people reference Bradford, it was Bradford's journey. It was Bradford's story. Bradford was on Broadway. Bradford was on All My Children. Bradford was on CSI. Bradford was on Glee.
Okay, so if I'm telling stories,
right? So a lot of trans people will be like, "Oh my God, you dead named me," and that's horrible. And this is how I want to present. Blah blah blah. Bradford's very much a part of me still. He is. He was. He is. He's still in me. So it doesn't bother me for people to say, "Oh my God, I work with Bradford," and what a hoot. Also, being that I am that same person.
Right. Okay.
It's just the way I explained it last week and the way I kind of explained it at the NIH when they said, this is what you kind of have to do. I said, oh, been in a Pinto all my life. It's falling apart. It's a junk car. You're giving me a BMW to finish the race. Same driver.
Right. Yeah, totally. So the same way that Julie was a real part of you when you were only Bradford.
Right.
Visually, Bradford is still a part of you as Julie.
Yeah.
Okay. So I always say, I tell stories like I'll be talking to Steven and I'll say something Julie, and He's like, what are you talking about? Because he's trying to place a Julie at Dark Harbor. And I'm like, Bradford. And he's like, right. No, Julie. Yes, I totally know what you're saying now, but he needs like clarification because there's just so many dang people at Dark Harbor. He thinks he's forgetting someone named Julie. Okay, so I have a
he knows me as Bradford.
he doesn't. I mean, it's funny because when he's talking about you specifically, he'll always say Julie, but it's when I say Julie and then I say Dark Harbor that his brain like doesn't connect the two, and so I'm like Bradford, Julie, Bradford. Okay, so here's my second question.
Okay.
A friend of mine has a son, and he was talking about how he was diagnosed with Klinefelter's, and I was like, I happen to have a certain area of knowledge.
Right.
And so he's like, yeah, Noah is getting, Joey, you can edit that out, right? On a live show. Joey is getting starting testosterone replacement, blah, blah, blah. So I said, listen, this is your journey. I am not a part of it. It's your son, but I just want to tell you what happened to my friend Julie, because she was presenting male as like a child, and then as a teenager, when they diagnosed this, they started giving hormones, and then recently her doctor said, listen, with all your other issues, though, that testosterone like overhaul is only doing damage, and you flip it the other way, and estrogen, and your chances of living longer are better. And he's like, what's your point? And I said, my point is, it's your son. He wants to be male. He's already made that clear. And so he obviously is only getting testosterone. But do you feel like if I have information about testosterone and like what happened to you and how it was ultimately damaging, even though it seemed like a really good idea at the time, do I share that information, or do I just go, it's none of my business?
I would share it. The great thing about Facebook and the internet and social groupings for Klinefelters is, even with 42 different genetic variations on that spectrum, we are all so different. I know maybe 15 women globally that had similar situations to mine that were told they needed to transition.
Okay.
Estrogen. Everybody's different. I told my mom today, I'm like, you are your best gauge for your own body.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you could know 4 people that have MS, and they all have a very different MS.
That's very true.
They're treated differently. Maybe they're all on different drugs. Maybe Mary feels like she's taking something that's doing wonders for her, but Tiffany's like, nope, that doesn't work for me. And Bob could be like, ugh, ugh, ugh. Like, we're so different that even Klinefelters, and the big push right now is, the NIH came out in 2020, and when you think of the global universe of Klinefelters, XXY, for decades we've been told it's the same thing.
Right.
And the NIH came out in 2020 of June, and they said it's not. That Klinefelters literally is a disease of the testicles. You have to be XXY to have it, but you're not going to know until you hit puberty if you have it.
Right.
And, for decades, it's put them on more testosterone. That'll make them more masculine. That'll kind of even kill them. We're both. I mean, even when you think of XXY, and there are a lot of people in the community that are not going to subscribe to this, and they're going to say she's loony and nuts and crazy, but there is research out there. It's coming, but even when you think about it, I have an extra X chromosome. I don't have an extra Y chromosome.
Right.
I have an extra female chromosome. Now, on that spectrum, we're all going to have different issues. I mean, I had half a uterus, half a pancreas, 1 ovary, 1 testicle. None of that was physically told to me until I was 43.
Right.
Ooh.
The more information you're putting out there, the more it normalizes something people are like, I've never heard of this. Oh, and side note, my friend's son is not XXY, he's XXXY. But doesn't possess any any femininity at all. He is like just like straight boy, and he
may have internal parts that are different.
Yeah.
Study on that, they're not going to know.
And obviously, I'm not going to ask. So.
Well, but then you think, but you can be female and be XXX. I mean, you can be male and be XXX. And
that's what I mean. He's definitely male and he's XXXY. And his doctor said that it was the only experience he ever had with XXXY. And so he was like, I don't really know what to tell you, but here are the resources I have. And so my friend, who's the dad, was like, I'm reading these resources and this pamphlet looks like it was written in 1985 and the information seems so out of date. And so like even just that they don't have any like gender allowances in the documentation. And so I said, listen, I'm just going to give you some resources to just read up and so that you can educate yourself and educate your son, just so you don't say the first doctor who told me what to do to fix him is exactly what we're going to do. I'm like, be aware of what the long-term effects and like what, your doctor might say now, well, the standard issue is to just give them the testosterone shots. And I can be like, let me have you talk to my friend Julie, and you'll say with all her issues that wasn't necessarily the best course of action. That was just the best course of action at that time.
Right. And let me be very clear. XXY is just one of 43 different variations.
Right.
There are men that have Klinefelters and they feel inherently straight and inherently male, and they never want to discuss that they could be female or might be female. It's not even on the radar. Then you have ones that feel, oh my God, I'm female and I just want to transition. Then you have people who feel split and go through their whole life being split. And I tell people all the time, I literally said to the doctors at NIH, what if I go home and I have the surgery and have the ovary and the testicle removed, but I don't transition? What if I don't take the estrogen? Like, I've made my life as a male. I'm an actor. I've done all these great things. As Bradford, I'm 43. Right. I have nieces and nephews that know me as Bradford.
So would it be detrimental, like, to your mental health?
You could. But all 8 of us feel like if you did, you'll be dead by 48.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's for you. Like, that's what it boils down to. It's not just...
But it's fluidity, and everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. Another XXY is not going to necessarily have the issues that I have.
You get more accessories, lots more accessories.
I like my paparazzi earrings. And let's be honest. I get a lot more attention out of this BMW than I ever did.
Well, I have to say that although I love Bradford for Bradford and Julie for Julie, I love the entirety of you the most. Oh, there we go.
Well, as we round out the show, tell us what's going on with you. What's new with you? What's going on with you? Do you want to promote anything? Do you?
Well, speaking of women, and yesterday being International Women's Day, I recently took part in I don't even know what you would call it. It's a video presentation of famous speeches by women who made and continue to make history. My very good friend, Amy Simon, is a historian and is dedicated to just shining a light on amazing females from the past and the present, and then, of course, the future, that they don't exist yet, and just talking about the amazing contributions they made to women's suffrage and pay equality and, just gender equality in general. And so she has a one-woman show called She Is History, where she plays like all these different characters. And then she did a live theater show with a multi-talented cast of women where they all played like several different roles. So then for because March is Women's Month, she did a video presentation and she wanted to add some newer people like Kamala Harris and Stacey Abrams. And so she and Malala
Meghan Markle. No kidding.
also. What'd you say?
Meghan
Markle. Yeah, for sure. We'll see what she does with her history making self. But anyway, they created a half-hour presentation. It's on YouTube. You can see it at the name of the show is called Speechifying. So it's like I'm up there speechifying with my amazing words and my amazing vision of the future. So you can find it on YouTube, or it was sponsored by Theater West, which is my the theater company that I belong to right here in LA, the oldest continuously running theater company in all of Los Angeles. And you can go to the Theater West, it's theaterwest.org, and just look, it's right on our homepage, Speechifying. But it has, I'm Abigail Adams, and I'm at the very end, but there's Abigail Adams and Malala and Kamala Harris and Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton and Sojourner Truth and Susan B. Anthony and Victoria Woodhull and all these amazing super femmes who like really did a lot to give us all the amazing freedoms that we have now, but who are continuing to fight for the equality that we haven't yet achieved, even though it's 2021. And so, yeah, just check that out. It just dropped on, it just dropped like I'm 20. My video presentation just dropped on Sunday night.
Tuesday. This is when music drops.
Yeah.
Appropriate.
Okay. The video was uploaded. Let's put it in old people terms. The video was uploaded and is available for viewing as of March 8th. So take a look at that and look at all these fun, fearless females who are changing the world, just like Julie.
Thank you so much for participating tonight. Thank you for your support and your love always.
Of course.
Thank you, Stephen, for getting you up tonight on the computer.
Yeah. I have to tell you, I did it myself. I just needed him to like take the puppy away out of the equation.
Look, so, that's what he's doing for.
Yeah. Go walk the dog, sir. I have to take care of the technology.
I mean, I need a husband, so I mean, I get it.
If I could clone Stephen and send him to you, I would. If I could clone, yeah, exactly. You get yourself a statum. I
feel like Adam's wife is going to be like, what is her deal? She's like,
no, she'll probably be like this. She'll be like, oh my gosh, you're right.
Like,
he is so amazing. Yeah. Yeah, right. And she's like, just take him just like for a day. And then I'll take
I just want to thank you so much. We have to do this again. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Love your support. I do want to mention that tonight's Rosé was Winemaker Select. I bought it at Walmart.
Cheers.
Next week, join us as you finished your drink. I had a second one. Join us next week as we select a different rosé. Tonight's rosé, bold. It's a bold choice.
Bold.
I don't want to be mean. It's bold. It's bold.
Yeah.
Next week, who knows? It'll either be Barefoot Rosé or Josh Rosé. Who knows? I do have a thing for guys named Josh, so maybe it'll be Josh. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Happy birthday, Kelly. Obviously, I'm drinking.
And me, March 17th. Me.
And March 17th. Isn't that St. Patty's Day?
It is. That's my birthday.
Look, I got them done today.
Oh.
You can't even see it. Look,
I can. Love.
Shamrock.
Yeah.
Tips and green.
Yeah.
Oh, real fast before you leave, you were going to ask about the breast. Why did I bring that up?
Well, I was going to ask you my question is how it went, how'd it go? What'd they say?
Good.
But if you have to go, just tell me separately. It's fine.
No, it's okay. Breast. Actually, we had a good laugh because I told the surgeon, I said, I've been researching for years. Like, is this what I want? I basically went to him and I said, look, intersex, I get undressed at the end of the night and I see the same breast from high school. and I said, I can't get other surgeries because of my medical issues. And I take the wig off and I take the makeup off and I take the eyelashes off. And I see high school.
Right.
But I said, it didn't bother me, but now it bothers me. And I'm like, what can we do? And I don't know if insurance will cover it. And that's
which is crazy. Which is crazy, by the way.
Well, he did say, he was like, look, it affects your mental. That's huge.
Yes.
And I turned around to him and I said, I don't want to use this as I don't want to use this to get something over something else that somebody else can't get, but I have a huge following. I advocate for the community. This would be the one thing that would allow me to feel complete.
Like the new you. Yeah.
And he said, well, we'll see what we can do. It looks like I'm a 38C now, so I really just want a fuller, probably a D.
Right.
He said you'd probably need a lift and an implant. It'd probably put you at a D, maybe a double D, depending on your bra size. And I really hope insurance covers it, because if it doesn't, it's a whopping $10K.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be on the corner.
I thought you were going to say like
fund me, and I was like, well, I don't think
I'll send you photos of the perfect breasts. No, I'm just kidding. They're not perfect.
I did tell him though. I said, look, irony of ironies, women are always really honest about that. And even my good girlfriends, I've asked my lesbian girlfriends, I was like, y'all like breasts? What do you think? Should I go bigger? Should I not go bigger? Everybody's been really honest. But the guys in my life, there's a guy in my life right now, and he's like, I'll pay for him. And I was like, sure. And he was like, can you get double eyes? And I went, you are crazy. He was like my ex-wife had double eyes. And I'm like,
that sounds tremendously unhealthy, hard to, you would never be able to shop for a bra. That bra alone would be like $100.
Ashley, that sounds like a bounce house.
I know. It does. I mean,
you would sign up for double eyes. And when I told the doctor that, he went, men are pigs. And
yeah.
Yes, they are.
It would be like two giant, like schoolroom globes just sitting there. Your interview would be like this. Oh, it's so nice to see you on my show.
Welcome to March Madness. Can you see past my basketball?
Yeah, right.
That's what it would be like.
D is as high as you should go, I think.
I mean, the image I like.
Yeah.
And he was like, because of your broad shoulders and the way you're built.
Yeah, but you also don't want to not be able to button up a shirt. Like okay, mine are
I mean, you know me. I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, I know, but like
I like that part.
It's like when you I already can't button up even this much. And I'm like a C.5 between C and D, but like I can't even button this top part of the shirt without it.
Is that your waitress outfit from Twin Peaks? Isn't there a restaurant?
Yeah, right. I look like some kind of girly lumberjack, but I was trying. Okay, so I was going to wear pink, but I don't own it.
It's appropriate because your husband's now in woodworking.
Yes. I was thinking, I was looking for something pink, but I don't own anything pink. So the next best thing was red. And that's how this shirt came to be.
I appreciate it.
Hey, anything I can do to help promote. All right. I will let you go, but.
So join us next week. You can watch this on justjulie.com. You can go to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I've got 50,000 followers on TikTok. I'm trying to push them all over to YouTube. Let's get it up. Love to get to 100 on TikTok, but I think I may have to sacrifice a small kid. Maybe kill it. It is
No.
I
put so much work into that one.
Maybe Adam.
That's fine.
I honestly feel like you and Steven need a girl.
Well, I mean, Killian is often mistaken for a girl, like at least once a day while we're out, because his hair is like this long. And they'll like, oh my gosh, your daughter this, your daughter that. And I'll be like, oh, it's my son, my son. And I'm correcting for his sake, not because I care. And he's like, Mom, it doesn't bother me. Just let it go. And I was like, oh, it doesn't bother me either. If it doesn't bother you, let's not worry about it.
Even keel. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. I always have. He's great. And your husband, great.
Agreed. He's a good guy.
Sometimes I just have to watch the Connors just to see him.
Yeah, he was on twice this season because COVID. They had like a really, really small cast. But he's going to be on Mom in a couple weeks.
But I heard that got canceled. Well, he's still on it. So.
He already recorded it. He recorded it like a month ago. So it's at the it either okay, this is terrible promotion. I'm like, oh, it either already aired or it's gonna air. I didn't watch it, but I should. He was on Mom this season, and that's all I know. He also has a really big audition coming up that I can't talk about, but if it happens, I will come back on and tell you all about it because it's a doozy. So think good thoughts for him.
Let's be honest, Steven's on Mom.
Yeah.
But really, we need Adam Conger to be like, Daddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should never have
All right.
that.
We're ending the show tonight. Next week, we will be back with another Rosé and another wonderful guest. I love you, Ashley. Thank you so much.
Love you too. Big
Thank
hug.
you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.